How would you describe the growth in terms of how we're transitioning and the kind of message that we're telling through our creative industry?
For me, the growth has been amazing. Over the past 5 years, you've seen a massive shift from your kind of low-level, kind of low-end production value videos to your high-end, globally established videos. And that's thanks to myself and the guys who work in the same field as I do. And really and truly, what we've done is we've pushed the boundaries in Africa and carried it on our back and shown the world that we can do exactly the same thing that's happening in Europe or in the States. Yeah. And it's been appreciated. I mean, just the proof is in the pudding. If you have a look at what Wizkid is doing, Davido is doing, and all our kind of key artists, you can see that the world is acknowledging us, and it's part of what we do in terms of the visuals and also the music. So yeah, we've been accepted globally now.
Tokini, would you say that the same thing for art? I know that Art X Lagos won for 2018. That was a success, and I know that you have something big also planned for 2019. But just the overall, sense of art in Nigeria, the level of appreciation, and how we're telling or rewriting or retelling the African narrative through our art.
Yes, so there was a lot of skepticism a few years ago about whether there was really the potential to build a strong art sector and art industry here. I'm very excited, and my team is very excited, that Artex Lagos, since we launched 3 years ago, has dispelled a number of those myths, obviously working alongside other players within the arts industry here. To date, we've had over 22,000 visitors come to visit our various art fairs that we've held annually, and these include visitors from all over the world, not just Nigeria and not just around Africa. Now, when you look into the values of the artworks that are being sold, how Nigerian art is appreciating and continues to do so every year, it's clearly an upward trend. You now have the world's leading auction houses, such as, for example, Sotheby's, setting up departments dedicated to art, modern and contemporary art from around Africa. So when you see this level of expansion, this level of interest, museums being launched, private collections also introducing African art to their collections, you know that, okay, yes, the sector is definitely on the move. And when you talk about, as well, the potential to reshape the African narrative using art as a vehicle for that, I mean, that's, to be honest, why we do what we do. The fact that our art tells about our identity, tells about our contemporary reality, what we go through, the ideals that are important to us. And so we feel very strongly that supporting these ambassadors who are sending our message out into the world is a very important endeavor.
No. Sesan, as a music video, talk to us about that aspect of the industry. You talked about the fact that, I mean, the likes of, you mentioned some popular names and how they're being received worldwide. I mean, I see it too. I hear the music, I hear the feedback. But in terms of, let's talk technology, how technology is helping you to, compete favorably with your global peers, not just on the African continent, because I know that in a lot of ways technology can help you leapfrog. Yeah. How is that helping?
Technology is quite massive in the industry right now. What you're seeing is in two ways. In the production stage, in terms of technology, cameras, and the digital era is taking over. And in terms of monetizing the industry, technology is also taking over. So when we're talking about technology, you have to look at it in two facets. You have to look at the production side and also how these artists or the industry as a whole makes money. So what we had before was a lot of guys making money from digital downloads and RBTs, as we used to know it, the caller back tones and stuff. And that has now upgraded to what you see as digital streaming. Okay. The likes of the international companies like iTunes, Spotify, and what have you, coming in. But also, there's a lot of new companies, African-based companies, tech companies, coming in to create their own platforms uniquely for Africa and getting the artists more money that way. So yeah, technology plays a massive role. Massive role in the industry.
Well, let me just quickly ask you this question, because recently the government has said, over the years, the government has seen the potential of the industry and the potential to contribute to overall to GDP growth. And then there's this 200 billion naira grant, or not just the industry. There's others, agriculture, but the creative industry is going to get a bite, a slice, as you of the industry. Well, I mean, how would you like this money to be dispersed? What are those?
Firstly, it's about time that this has happened. When you look at the kind of video production industry as a whole, you have Nollywood that everyone knows about, and you have like the music video and creative side. Nollywood has always been kind of championed in Nigeria and Africa more than the creative music video side. Okay. And it's been a bit unfair, because if we really look at the numbers, I have to kind of take it on my back for the music video industry. We are actually more successful than Nollywood. Really and truly look at the numbers, and numbers don't lie. In terms of if you monetize both industries, music videos industry makes a lot more money than Nollywood. Do more numbers.
Okay. Tokini, let me ask you this. What do you think about that, the amount, and then how it's supposed to help boost to support the industry?
I think it's actually less about the amount for me and more about how it's going to be dispersed and how creative businesses or entrepreneurs or individuals will actually be able to access and draw down on it. You know, we've had, for example, the likes of Bank of Industry release funds. A number of these funds consistently are announced. But what I guess for me would be an important next step is how is the creative industry going to be able to leverage off of this opportunity, and what will be the hurdles or obstacles, and even what will be the point of qualification. Now, I'm sure this has probably been released and announced, but I don't have that full information myself. But for me, that would be really the important thing to think through. As he said, it's a fantastic next step. It's really just how is it going to be executed.
Now, I wanted to also talk about, you talked about how Nigerian art is being appreciated, and I want to know about exportability of Nigerian art. I mean, we hear about, you know, so many, you know, specific kinds of arts, you know, that, you know, that go to certain auctions and you hear like incredible, mind-boggling amounts. For Nigerian art, I mean, when you think about Nigerian art, are we anywhere near that where, you know, you go to auctions and then worst case scenario, there's still at least one or two Nigerian art there?
Yes, so, and that's what's actually been very exciting over the last 5 years, these numbers that have started to come out, even around Nigerian artists. Now, something a lot of people are not aware of is that the global art industry is actually like it's close to $70 billion in terms of its value. Africa and I believe South America together only represent about 4%, meaning that Africa is probably even about half of that amount in terms of what it constitutes in the global art industry. Now, it means that some people take that to mean that, okay, you know, the situation is woeful. Others take that to mean that there is so much scope for growth. And I'm one of those who leans to the second side, thinking that if this industry is that big globally, then all we have to do is continue to claim our share of it. Now, with regards to the numbers, there have been mind-boggling numbers around Nigerian art. Not mind-boggling in the sense that we don't think the art is worth that, but mind-boggling in the sense that it's a very strong, solid stamp of approval for the industry. Okay. Just last year, for example, the modern artist Ben Nwambu, who is late, one of his most prized artworks, Tutu, I'm sure you would have heard about that, sold for over £1.2 million at auction in London. You also have Nigerian... Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry. I wanted to quickly, because we have like 10 seconds left. Sorry to bother, but so just wrap this up for you. I mean, Tokini mentioned scope for development, scope for increase in the industry. For you, what is that one thing that you would like to see happen in the industry now that will help us grow?
Yeah, I mean, whatever investment comes in through the funds that's coming in from CBN and the other people who bring their money in, I think they need to invest in the education, really and truly, of the industry, because what happens is we have a lot of skilled workers, a lot of talented individuals in the country, but their skills are never harnessed. So it's quite raw. So what happens, you have the foreigners who come in, South Africans, Americans, Europeans, they come in, they film, whether it's Nollywood or even in my sector, bring in all the gear, and we film, and they never teach anyone. They do the jobs they have to do, and they literally take everything back out, and they leave us how they found us.
So would you like to see policy that would, you know, say, okay, let there be the transfer skills when this happens? All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for being here, Tokini. Sesan, thank you for your time today. I've been speaking to Tokini Peterside, founder and director, ArtX Lagos, and Sesan Ogunro, video director. We'll be looking at Nigeria's creative industry. With that.